Let's go back to the video.
I'm invited to a family celebration.
My first pizza cake. It's delicious.
We all grew up with Santa Claus, and it's just one of the most happy days of the year for children. So it's our way of being a small child again.
This family has taken me in without any reservation. They're lovely people who don't seem to mean any harm. Or is it that they choose to look the other way?
The challenge is being able to see the other person, meaning the people of color, as your equal. My experience as a black person is equally as important as your tradition. And if we can see that and we can come to terms with that, then you'll say it's important that we make this tradition so that it's inclusive of all people.
This is the idyllic town of Monnickendam, where the Dutch have gathered to say farewell to Santa Claus and his Black Pete's for another year. I'm about the only real black person in the crowd, and I see some people staring at me. I have never felt this uncomfortable since moving here. So the Black Pete's leave for Spain again. They're gone for another year. Standing here, I realize that the world will not stand for this much longer, and Black Pete will have to change.
Well, alrighty then. So now, get me Jeremiah 10. I'm telling you, the only problem they got is the Black Pete part. They want the rest of the lie. But let's see what God says about that. Jeremiah 10, let's start at verse 1.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 10 and verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel.
So the Lord is speaking to the Israelites. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
Learn not the way of the heathen. These customs that we keep today, like Christmas, is a way of the heathen. What heathen nation taught us? Christmas, Santa Claus and all that? The so-called white man. He is the heathen nation. During the time when Jeremiah wrote this, Jeremiah was prophesying about Babylon, because we were about to go under Babylon, which are the modern-day Ethiopians. Read.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
For
the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain.
For the customs of the people are vain, meaning lies. Go ahead.
For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold.
They decorate that tree with silver and with gold. Go ahead.
They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not.
So today we use a tree stand so it don't move, so it don't fall down. But there was a myth back then that the tree could walk if you did evil. Go ahead.
They are upright as the palm tree.
Right. Back during the time of ancient Babylon, they used the palm tree. But now, more modern term, they use the evergreen tree today. Go ahead.
But speak not. They must needs be born.
The word born, B-O-R-N-E, means carried. The tree must needs be carried. Go ahead.
Because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them.
Listen good to this. Be not afraid of them.
For they cannot do evil.
For they cannot do evil. Go ahead.
Neither also is it in them to do good.
They can't do evil. They can't do good. Now, what does that part of the verse have to do with the whole Santa Claus crap? In America, they teach you, I forgot. He knows when you are sleeping. He knows when you are, you know that one? He knows when you are bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. Oh, now that's in America. In Holland, in Netherlands, they said if you're bad, black people put you in a burlap bag, carry you to Spain, and whoop the hell out of you. That's so all little white kids are terrified of Black Pete. If I'm bad, he'll put me in that bag and carry me back to Spain. That's what they're saying. So the Most High from Jeremiah chapter 10, the whole thing is satanic and evil. But our people in the Netherlands say, no, only take out Black Pete so we can all be equal. No, the whole thing. That's why God ain't rolling with our people out there. Even here in America, only time our people speak out against Christmas is not because it's a satanic holiday, but they say, oh, well, if we hit them economically, then they'll do what we want. They'll make us equal. Our people are simple as hell here. That's not going to make us equal in the sight of the so-called white man. Okay, watch this. Now, get me Google. Let's get the book Nature Knows No Color Line. You should already have it up there. Show the book cover. If y'all don't have this book, get this book. It's called Nature Knows No Color Line by J.A. Rogers. Okay, let's go inside the book to page 63. Let me look. Yes, right there. So I want y'all to look, see the pictures right there? Zoom in on the bottom. Moorish, listen to Moorish chess players of Spain. You see that? You see the blacks playing Spain? The Moors introduced chess to the world. Now, I know some of y'all thought it was the white man. It was not the white man. The black man brought in chess. From the 13th century, I can't see that next word, of something. Note the white servant. So there's a white servant there. Now, if you look at the blacks, they're playing chess. All right, go back up now. Now let's look at the prince. Let's go back up. Okay, these are some of the Moors. Okay. Now, remember the term Moor represented two groups, two factions of blacks. You had most popular ones. You had Muslim Moors and you had Jew Moors. Now let's go over to the side. Okay, watch this. The very bottom says, British families, top left, the Moors of Yorkshire, including Sir Thomas More, Chancellor of Henry VIII. We all heard of Henry VIII. His Chancellor was Sir Thomas More. Let's go up to the top. That's him in the middle. Correct me, right? With the hat.
That's Sir Thomas More, the third one from the left side. Henry VIII is the one that's over the coat of arms, the first one, the largest one. The next one is Princess Anne, and the one over there in the corner, the last one is Queen Elizabeth.
So this is the history we're not being taught in America. Queen Elizabeth I, the real one. So y'all see Henry VIII top left with the two double earrings. That's Henry VIII. His Chancellor, Sir Thomas More, is the one in the middle. So now, when we go to the side here, it says Negro ancestry in the white race. You got Germany 126, Holland 53, Italy 24. So J.A. Rogers, when he went throughout the Netherlands, throughout Europe, he found all these black images that we're not taught about here in the United States. It says, later, with only little research, I found 162 of the latter with one or more Negroes. Who were these blacks? Wade, Grand Mason, and some others say they represent Moors, whom the Crusaders fought in Spain and Palestine. Let me read that again. Who were these blacks? Wade, 43, Grand Mason, 44, and some others say they represent Moors, which means blacks, whom the Crusaders fought in Spain and Palestine. Some, as Gauss says, represent trade and exploration, that is, of whites who adventured in black men's lands. For instance, Sir John Hawkins, father of the English slave trade, had a bound Negro in his coat of arms. Both these views are right only in a very small way, because they do not explain why so many of these families with Negroes are named Moore, Blackamoor, and the like. McRitchie is correct when he says that families with the name of Moore, Maurice, Morrison, and other derivatives of Moore had Moors as their ancestors. He adds, nor can the mores of heraldry be explained. Heraldry means these coats of arms. Sufficient. He adds, nor can the mores of heraldry be explained sufficiently. Remember, J. Rogers. This is about 19. I think he published this in 1960, 1970, but he was born in the 30s. I can't remember. Find out when that book was. Not you. Abigail. Somebody Google on their phone. When was this published? Okay, so I want you to look at these images. I'm going to read this part again. He adds, nor can the mores of heraldry be explained sufficiently on the theory that the founders of families bearing spurs in assisting Spaniards to now see that there we go. 1952, thank you. So this was published 1952, thank you. So now, pay close attention to that line I just read. He adds, nor can the mores of heraldry be explained sufficiently on the theory that the founders of families bearing Moors as supporters and Moors' heads as crests had won their spurs in assisting Spaniards to expel the Moor. Let's pause there for a second. So what happened? When the whites began to conquer, they got certain Moors to work with them to cast out the other blacks and or enslave them. It's the same thing the whites did in South America, same thing they did in Central America and North America. Divide and conquer. That's why you can pay a Negro $1. He'll do anything the white man says. All right, I was going to say something else, but I won't say that. All right. The bearing among ancient coats of arms is too common to admit this explanation, and a heraldic representation of a Moor or Negro man does not suggest Granada. The features are some of the ugly, irregular, and the hair, though longer than that of a pure Negro, is woolly. Okay. Can we zoom in on the pages so the people can read along with us a little bit? All right. It says, as regards Christian Spain and Portugal, listen good, as regards Christian Spain and Portugal, Negroes were imported in droves from 1440 until the abolition of slavery in Portugal in 1773. Already before the discovery of America. So before America was discovered, slavery, we was being bought in Spain as slaves, Portugal. It says already, okay, let me read on. Several thousands of Negro slaves had been, what's that word, expatriated from Senegal, Guinea, and the Congo, and were working in Lisbon and Algarves. And so now, although he's naming that, use the words Negro and Senegal, these are Israelites, as we're going to read, as we're going to prove. The Catholic sovereigns were dealers. I'm going to read that again. The Catholic sovereigns were dealers in Negro slaves. I got to read that again. I know some of them got Catholic families. A lot of you Haitians. The Catholic sovereigns were dealers in Negro slaves. It was Christopher Columbus who went plundering in Negro slaves in Guinea before stealing Indian slaves in Cuba. Let me read that again, but they don't tell you that in school. It was Cristobal Columbus who went plundering in Negro slaves in Guinea before stealing Indian slaves in Cuba. Before the discovery of America, the Negroes already were cutting sugarcane in, what's that word? Andalusia. And in Seville, there was a municipal council of native Negroes with fraternal orders, kings and overseers. The Negro came first to the Indies from Spain. Wait a minute. Let me read that whole sentence again. The Negro came first to the Indies, talking about the Caribbean islands, from Spain, not from Africa. Let me read that again because y'all didn't get that part right there. The Negro came first to the Indies from Spain, not from Africa. See, they don't teach you that in school. They said every black came from Africa. That's a lie. That's what J. Rogers proved. With all those black coats of arms throughout Europe, he was proving we were ruling Europe. They conquered us and brought many of us as slaves on this side of the world.
Right. Lerone Bennett Jr. also put that out in his book.
Right.
He said that a lot of the slaves that came over to the Americas, the first ones that came with Spanish names.
Exactly. 100%.
Meaning they came from Spain.
Right. They don't tell you this in school. All right. The Negro came first and then from Spain, not from Africa. And as, what's that word? Euclid's, what's that next word? Acuna said of Brazil, I can't remember. The mulatto was not made in America. He came to us already made from the, what is that, mother? From the mother country. The African Negro slave trade was more abundant than for America. In one city like Evora, Portugal, the Negroes undeniably exceeded the whites. Several thousands of Wolof, Mandingo, Guinea, and Congo slaves entered Lisbon and Seville each year and were sold for the cities and fields of the south of Iberia. And without the bestial prejudices which afterwards were current in America's societies of agrarian slave-holding economy, the Negroes and mulattoes were frequently emancipated, and both rose to prominence by virtue of knowledge, art, valor, or, what does that say, love? Love. Negroes were adopted into, so once they conquered us and they kept, like they showed, we saw the first painting, the Renaissance, you had the little black boy with a collar on his neck. If he had any of those characteristics, they rose up in prominence. This is after the Renaissance, from the 1453 on up. This is before the 1620 slave trade of North America. Negroes, I already read that. Okay, so now, I'm gonna let that go. Give me the next one. I had something else. Give me the video, Moors in Europe 4. There's a video on YouTube, this one. Moors in Europe 3, right, this is it. Who was that head-banded man? So this brother had, now all of the sketches that you saw in J.A. Rogers' book, some people say that J.A. Rogers made those images up and he sketched them. Yeah, he sketched them, but he did not have a camera to photograph. That was back in the 50s. So now this guy went and got many of the same images and he photographed them and put them in his video. So just pay it, so when y'all get the book, you can match it along with the video showing you J.A. Rogers did not concoct and make that stuff up that's in his book. Play it. This isn't all from Spain. Some of these coats of arms are from Britain, Germany, Russia, France, Poland. We're going to read this. We rule the earth. This is what the white man has kept secret for all these 400 years from us. Tell y'all all come from Africa. You a bunch of monkeys, jungle bunnies. Y'all have no history. Read on anyway. We're moving right along. And we go, okay.
Right. They try to cover up their history about the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 A.D. And out of that history, you had a lot of Israelites that fled down into the interiors of Africa.
I'm sorry, I forgot something. We read earlier that we were ruling in Spain and Palestine.
Right.
We read that tonight.
We sure
It just
did.
popped out of my head. We were ruling Palestine. That was our homeland.
And in some of the history, in some of the history records, you read about the parts where Israel that wanted to stay in Jerusalem and secure it. When the Romans came in, they took a lot of Israel into Rome and made slaves out of them in the arenas. Okay, and then 193 A.D. was Septimius Severus and the gladiators that was ruling that was with him. They rose up and overthrew the whole Roman Empire. Those were the gladiators. Like when you watch that movie Gladiator, that movie itself illustrates that section of the history. That's why they named him Septimius. That was a black man. Okay.
Watch this. Give me Revelation chapter 11, verse 7. Let me show you what God says about what we just been discovering.
The book of Revelation, chapter 11 and verse 7.
Okay. Revelation 11, 7 down is about the two witnesses. The two witnesses is not talking about two guys. The two witnesses in Revelation 7 is talking about the two kingdoms, Judah and Israel. So let's start at verse 7.
Verse 7. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them, and kill them.
Now, I wanted that verse for a reason. And when they shall have finished their testimony, they are the two witnesses, Judah and Israel. The beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit. Hold on, let's get me Revelation 12 and 3 about this beast.
The book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon.
The great red dragon represents Esau, according to Genesis 25:25. The first came out red all over like a hairy garment. Go ahead.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads.
Now, some Christians get thrown off because it says dragon. Well, it says dragon, brother. It means it's a literal dragon. No, it's not a literal dragon. That's a similitude. Like when you read, give me this, here's the proof. Job 30, I think it's verse 29, where Job's talking about them, his friends, his brothers.
Job chapter 30 and verse 29. I am a brother to dragons.
See that? Remember, he said, I'm a brother to dragons. So now he's talking about his buddies, his friends. When you go back to Revelation 12 now, in verse 3 one more time.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon.
This great red dragon is Esau, the nation of Edom. What does Edom mean, brothers? It means red. Go ahead.
Having 7 heads.
7 great empires.
And 10 horns.
The European Union, which is the 10 common markets.
And 7 crowns upon his heads.
Go back to Revelation 11, now the chapter before it, in verse 7.
Revelation 11, verse 7. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit.
Talk about Europe. Go ahead.
Shall make war against them.
Shall make war against them.
And shall overcome them and kill them.
And kill them. Now, let's see if this is a literal kill or spiritual kill. Go ahead.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified.
This great city is talking about the United States of America. Read verse 8 again.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually,
go ahead,
is called Sodom.
Why is this place spiritually called Sodom? Because they promote homosexuality, same-sex marriage. Go ahead.
And Egypt.
And Egypt. Why? Because in ancient Egypt, you had the 12 tribes of Israel in slavery. Here in America, you got the 12 tribes of Israel here in slavery. Go ahead.
Where also our Lord was crucified.
Now, Christ was literally crucified in Jerusalem. He wasn't literally crucified here, so what does that mean? His image and his teachings were crucified, meaning put to death. They destroyed his image and his teachings. Go ahead.
And they of the people and
Now listen to this verse.
And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations.
Meaning, remember, in America, you got all nations here. That's what it means. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations. Go ahead.
Shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves.
We weren't put in graves because we were not literally dead. We're spiritually dead. Just like the verse above it, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, meaning 350 years, like we just read earlier. Daniel 7, verse 25. Remember we read that? Hold that. Some of you forgot. Hold that. Get Daniel 7:25 again.
Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand.
We shall be given into his hand as slaves. Go ahead.
Until a time and times and the dividing of time.
350 years. Now, when we go back to Revelation 11 and verse 9 again.
Verse 9. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half.
The 3 days and a half is going back to the times, and dividing of times, which is 350 years. Go ahead.
And shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves.
Because we're not literally dead, we're spiritually dead. Watch the next verse.
And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry.
Read that again.
And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them.
When the beast, which is the white man, conquered us, it says they rejoice over the images that we just saw with them holding a flag. The whole Santa Claus in Holland, that's a rejoicing over us. With black people, we conquered the blacks. We conquered them. Read it again.
And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry.
Merry Christmas is about the conquering of the blacks, the Israelites. That's what it's about. Read it again.
And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another.
At one time, the gifts was you and I. We were the gifts they gave one to another. Today is chocolate and candy and Transformer toys. They just changed it. That's all they did. But the whole celebration was about us being conquered. The proof is in Holland. Because some of us get so ignorant. No, it's about elves. It ain't about no damn elves. They changed that to keep us asleep. The whole celebration is our destruction.
We used to scream Black Power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.